Hey gang, today we are taking a look at the second of the samurai team, and that is G02 Jinbu. Now, you may know that this guy was in fact recalled by Takara in Japan. Box is looking pretty good. It's a significantly smaller box than Kenzan, but hey, what can you do? This one doesn't have the lights and sounds gimmick built into him. So let's open him up and take a look. Now here we have Kenzan out of the packaging, and I've got to admit, he doesn't look too bad from looking at him at the front. In fact, I'd go far as to say is he looks pretty good as long as you look at him from the front. Soon as you turn him to the side, though, yeah, he's got issues down in his legs. We've got giant combiner feet hanging off of his shins, and then giant combiner fists for heels, and no real front feet. He's just kind of on these two posts made out of just plastic that doesn't want to stay where you want it to. Though he does have some decent posability, although his legs connect up around his nipples. Now, there is one thing that was not done in the packaging that I have discovered. The landing gear for the plane, which is stored in the nose cone, if you fold it all the way out and then spread his legs a bit, put the plane nose down, you can actually peg the sides of the landing gear into his upper leg, or around where his torso should be, so that will hold the entire figure together, unlike Kenzan, whose legs will just split apart and at any drop of a hat. Overall posability is pretty good. Head is on a swivel, arms on a ball joint, swivel underneath that, hinge at the elbow, no hand articulation. Articulation for the legs is a little weird. He doesn't have a ball joint or anything, but he's got a ratchet way up where his hips should be, and then he's got another ratchet at his knee. And then you saw the major issue with this figure. These bits do not peg in anywhere, so they just flop around as willy-nilly as they feel like it, and they are held together on with screws. So if those screws ever strip or become loose, these bits are just going to move willy-nilly on their own, which is a major, major issue. Kenzan comes with two accessories. This one giant sword, which I believe is a nodaichi, which can peg into his back, which I greatly appreciate. I'll show you that in a second. And then his kabuto, which unfolds to form the helmet in combined mode and a shield/gun in robot mode. So the way he holds the shield is just you peg it in, and he just leaves his arm straight down for the shield, but then he can lift his arm up and use it as a gun. I think that's a gun anyway, it looks like one. So that is very cool. The sword just slides right into his hand, and I gotta admit, that is a giant sword made of super floppy plastic once again. Grr, don't like super floppy plastic. So I did some digging, and pretty much everyone confirms that this is a long sword, not a nodaichi. Oh well. But as you can see, you can easily mount it on the back, and you can have it on either side using those the pegs there. That's specifically that peg. So that's a nice look. I really do like that. You can also store the kabuto on the back. You can just peg that in to using these pegs. You can peg that in to the peg holes that are just above along the wings, and then this will peg into the actual shield itself like that, offering him a pseudo third leg, although very floppy. So yes, you could store everything on the back. I do appreciate that as well, even if it does make the figure a little top heavy. Thankfully, he has giant fists for heels. Of the three figures in the samurai team, I would say Jinbu has the worst head sculpt of all of them. It's just kind of dumb looking, honestly. I don't care for it at all. It looks like something that Starscream would have on his head. I get what they're going. They're kind of going for a samurai ninja look, but this bit up here doesn't really work with him all that well, and his face with a smirk doesn't work, and it's just not one of my favorite head molds ever, really. Like Kenzan before him, Jinbu's transformation is very simple. First, take the head, turn it around, and fold it straight back. Take the chest, which is the nose cone, and first spread the legs to unpeg them, flip it up, and then fold it straight out like that. folding up the landing gear so you don't break it. Take the wings and just fold them straight back. Now the arms are a little tricky. You're going to want to turn the arms such that they have the ability to kind of bend like this. So you want the ball joints pointing straight back, and then turn the forearms so they are pointing straight back, and then just fold them back along the ball joint and then put the legs together. Somewhat like a Valkyrie transformation. And speaking of Valkyrie, here's our favorite girl walk mode. Okay, moving on. Take the legs, spin them 180, and then put them straight back along the back of the figure, and then take what are the combiner feet? They have peg holes underneath of them, and peg them into these wings. And you kind of have to put your finger underneath them in order for them to peg, because if you don't, they'll just push down along the body. Finally, you can flip these feet back, fold the fists up, and then flip out the tail wings. It doesn't have a tail fin, so to speak, it just kind of has tail wings. Last but not least, you could fold down the landing gear for the full effect of the weirdest jet mode of all time. The jet mode is stylized. He's a forward-swept plane that looks like he's got giant feet hanging off of his back for thrusters. It's not very pleasant to behold, I will be honest. It's not a great vehicle mode at all. In fact, it feels really cheap and clumsy and just kind of like something thrown together. Now, a lot of plane modes look like it's just a robot hanging off the bottom of the plane, and we kind of have that a little bit going on here, especially with the face sticking out from underneath the fuselage. But it's just not great, we'll say. It's definitely, it's not great. So, you can store his giant sword in this mode. You want to turn it so that the sword is facing back, and then these two sections where my forefinger and thumbs are will actually snap into his combiner spot. So like that. And then you can take the kabuto, and the kabuto is supposed to peg into the back here once you fold up what are the rear boosters. So he can fly with this giant brick of a turret hanging off of his back. Yeah, that's not aerodynamically problematic at all. No. No, in fact, the entire figure isn't aerodynamically problematic at all. For Jinbu's combination sequence, we're going to do it a little bit differently. Jinbu will start off in robot mode. Kenzan, I've already got most of the way there. All I did was take him out of vehicle mode, do kind of half transformation for the top, and then do a normal robot transformation for the feet, which we'll edit in a minute, and then leaving Gano in vehicle mode. So we're going to start off with Kenzan. To start off with Kenzan, all we do is kind of a half transformation, as I said, and then for the legs, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to actually take the legs and flip the entire figure upside down. So turning him completely over on his head, literally, there's his robot head. Then for the legs, we will actually be turning them like this so that the windscreen is pointing to the front. And we'll just make sure that all the screw holes are not pointing towards the front either. So as you see, the hands or the feet end up like this. So to fix this, fold the screen to the side and then just kind of grab the inside of the foot and twist it. And then fold out the giant robot hands to form heels. So do the same thing on the other side, unpeg it, and twist it. And unfortunately, it doesn't really peg in. It pegs into that blue peg again, which doesn't like to stay pegged in. So there are the legs. And Jinbu's combined form have the smallest feet ever. Look at those, so tiny. For Gano, what we're going to do is grab the rear of the vehicle mode and just fold the giant combiner feet out like that. Then take his robot arms, fold them out to the side, not all the way around, and then take what are the Gano's robot arms and flip them around the door. Oops. Making sure to not fold these sections up. Then we will take these and turn them so that the elbow is pointing to the sky. that. Then come around to the back, unpeg the legs from each other and flip them 180, and then fold them up again and snap them in together. And they should just peg together again like that. Oh, and push the feet or the fists down thusly. And then take the whole section and flip that up. And then we could fold these arms back and they will peg into the insides of the legs, or what would be the insides of the robot legs, like that. And there we have the midsection, ready to go. For Jinbu himself, take the head, turn it around, and fold it straight back. For the arms, fold them up into the forearms, fold them up into the upper arms, and then kind of fold them out to the sides like that. Then we'll take the wings and fold them up. Take the nose cone and fold it up so that it's at an angle from the rest of the body. So if this is here's the chest, I'm going to fold it up and at an angle. And sometimes this just doesn't want to go on that angle. So you kind of have to just fiddle with it until you can get it. And then take the wings and then fold them, and they will peg into these open slots up front. So like that. Now the one thing I did that I shouldn't have done is turn the head around. So we're gonna have to undo everything and turn the head the correct way. Because, you know, if you don't do everything exactly the way you're supposed to, things get all screwed up. Oh well. So take the arms that we had folded, turn them such that the yellow part is just pointing up, and have them pointing up towards the head. And we'll do something with the legs in a second. Then the legs will flip out. And I like to turn them so that all the screw holes are pointing behind the figure. It's just a personal thing of mine. And then fold them down, and I think you know what goes on from here. And there we go. And here we have Go Jinbu, the final combination of Jinbu. Now, I love the way this thing looks. Absolutely love it. It's my favorite combination of all of them, except for, oh, forgot to plug that in, except for the legs, which there'll be a little fix here in a second. He does have a bit of a kibble on the back. Okay, he's got a lot of junk in the back and junk in the trunk, but I'm okay with that. I just love the way Go Jinbu looks. I really do like it. Now, this is supposed to be the Samurai Team speed form, but with this much mass, how is this supposed to be fast? I don't get that. Go Jinbu's Kabuto is probably my favorite simply because he looks like a very angry walrus or snorkeler. I like the way it looks. I like the crest, the giant crest he's got here. It just looks cool. I like it a lot. Plus, he's got the gold samurai Autobot symbols there on his chest. And the fact that it comes out at an angle as opposed to just straight up and down is really, really nifty. Now, eagle-eyed viewers may notice that I have already made a change to Go Jinbu, and that is I have returned the legs for Kenzan to Kenzan's original transformation and just kind of tweaked them a little bit. The only tweak I did was turn them so that they're pointing in, so the wheels are pointing out. And what this does is it allows the figure to actually have a heel that is pegged in somewhere. You see how it's pegged in here? The other way, it didn't really peg in, and that was that blue peg that is going to be an issue whenever Kenzan is having his feet moved at all. Just very weird, but overall, I think this mode looks good. So, we will attach his sword, and this actually works because I like the fact that the sword is in proportion to the combined mode. Now, he does or can equip the combined sword javelin thingy like so. He can equip that, though it doesn't want to sit inside his hand for some reason or inside the fist. So it just is a little bit tricky to get in there, if you could get it in there at all. And ooh, I think that's going to have problems there, Jinbu. For Jinbu, I prefer to have the drill lance pointing to the bottom while he's holding the big sword. Now, it looks a little weird, but it works. Now, he does have the combined Kabuto in this form as well, with blue and red. However, they're a little bit heavy. So, if the fist, ever unpegs and you kind of tap it, it'll just fall right down. But I guess you could work that as a shield, maybe. Here's one alternate combination that doesn't work functionally, but aesthetically I think works really well. Yeah, the proportions are off a bit, but, and I'm saying but, it looks like a badass Japanese gorilla. And I dig this. I think this is a really nifty little combination we got here, because he just looks like he is ready to start something. And it does sort of sit, but as you can see, it's going to move around easily. But overall, I like this alternate combination because, like I said, he just looks like he's ready to get into a fight. Now, if you thought the other two-part combination was good, I adore this two-part combination. Yes, the extra bit of his Kabuto does hang it down a bit, but I really like this. This works really well. And I think this is how it should have been done, in all honesty. Yes, it does have a very Transformers Energon feel to it, but this works. This works really well. And you don't need Kenzan in the picture at all. This just looks beefy and burly, strong and fast. I think this is the best combination of all of them. Overall, Jinbu is only just okay. He's not god-awful, but he's not really that good either. His robot mode is by far the best mode comparative to the vehicle in the robot mode. His combined mode, actually, is probably my favorite of the three, simply because it works. And the Kabuto is definitely really cool. I love the look of the Kabuto. It just works for me for some reason. Just really works well for me. So if I had to recommend whether to pick him up or not, I would say give him a shot. Yes, he does have problems. Not going to kid you there. But compared to Kenzan, he's a lot better, and thank God he doesn't have any lights and sounds gimmicks.